Need for Speed has been a defining name in racing games for decades, but in recent years the franchise has seen a divide among its own fans. The latest entry, Need for Speed Unbound, came with bold style, deeper customization and new ideas. But it also arrived to a wave of lukewarm reactions. Meanwhile, its predecessor, Need for Speed Heat, released back in 2019, is still going strong. And that leaves us with a very real and fair question. Is Need for Speed Heat actually the better game? Today we're breaking it all down, the pros, the cons, the misunderstood features, and ultimately which one deserves your time in 2025. Let's go ahead and start. To understand why this debate even exists, we need to start with some hard numbers and community sentiment. Need for Speed Unbound, despite being newer and technically more advanced, hasn't managed to capture the attention or the loyalty that Need for Speed Heat has. On Steam, Heat has racked up well over 3.9 million sales. Unbound got just about 1.5 million according to VGinsights.com. And this gap is even more interesting when we look at the reviews. Heat sits at a positive rating with over 84% of the reviews being positive on Steam. Unbound hovers at 61%, and many of the positive reviews I read stated that the game is okay, not brilliant. Many have stated that it's not worth the money and should only be bought when it's got a discount. Now, sales and reviews aren't everything, but when you combine that with the fact that Heat still has more active players even today, it becomes clear this isn't just nostalgia talking. Players are actively choosing Heat over Unbound, and that says a lot. A big part of that has to do with what people expect from a Need for Speed game. Fast cars, tense cop chases, a vibrant street racing world, and a campaign that's at least memorable. For many, Unbound came off as a gamble with its cartoon visuals and limited evolution in certain areas. Heat, for all its flaws, delivered something that felt more familiar and more complete. Alright, let's give credit where it's due. Unbound brought a lot of enhancement that deserve recognition. Technically, it's the better game on paper. First up, the graphics. Unbound looks amazing if you like the style. From reflections in puddles on the street to the way the lighting reacts in different weather conditions, it's certainly the best looking game in the franchise in terms of details, reflections and lighting. In Need for Speed Unbound, everything looks sharper, cleaner and more vibrant than Heat. Unbound also has slightly better physics. There's more performance depth, more adjustable and customizable features, and multiple tiers of upgrades that allow players to fine-tune how their cars behave on the road. Drifting in particular is much more customizable. If you like dialing in that perfect feel, Unbound gives you more tools to do it. It also features more cars, over 150 compared to Heat's 130. And yes, Unbound even introduces motorcycles, which is something totally new for the franchise. There's also a longer campaign with around 20 to 25 hours if you take your time. The campaign in Heat, in comparison, took a maximum of 12 hours. One of the most important factors obviously are the cops. Need for Speed Unbound does have a higher cop variety, however the cops aren't aggressive at all and are very easy to escape. If you thought the cops in Heat were annoying, then Unbound definitely is better, but if you do like a challenge, then Unbound will disappoint you. When looking at multiplayer, there aren't many changes except the smaller party size for some reason. One thing that definitely is better though, the actual online racing with other players. In Heat, hardly anyone will ever accept a race invite, while in Unbound it's fairly easy to race with others. On paper, Unbound brings a lot to the table, but as we'll see in this next section, the answer isn't that clear after all. Now here's where things get interesting. Despite being older and technically inferior in some ways, Heat just feels better to a lot of players, and there's a good reason for that. First, the visual style. While Unbound shading and animated graffiti cartoon style might be artistic, it's also controversial. Heat sticks completely with realism, and for players who don't like the art style of Unbound, it remains the game with better graphics, even with less details and quality. Another Unbound turn-off for many players was the day and night cycle. In Heat, you can switch between day and night freely whenever you want to, daytime for legal races and night for illegal ones. This mechanic doesn't just affect lighting, it changes the entire structure of your gameplay. In Unbound, this cycle is forced, making it impossible for the player to choose what race to do when. And unlike Unbound, the cops in Heat are absolutely relentless. It's very challenging to escape their aggressive attempts of knocking you out, especially in the beginning. In Unbound, the cops feel just like a decoration, while in Heat they actually make it difficult and give you a real challenge. Heat also offers more race variety: drift events, off-road races, high-speed track runs, smash collectibles, time trials, jump challenges, and escape events. It's packed. Unbound feels more limited by comparison, especially in early game progression. And let's not forget, Heat's online mode is directly connected to your offline progression. You don't have to grind twice. You bring your garage into multiplayer, race with your same cars, and just go. In Unbound, single player and multiplayer are separate, which is just very frustrating for many players. Heat's campaign, while not Oscar-worthy, actually tries. Characters are fully animated, scenes are dynamic, and there's real pacing. Unbound's story, on the other hand, feels flat and disjointed with minimal cinematic effort. Of course, this is more subjected to opinions, so you might see this differently. If you do, you can ignore this point. Heat may not be the best Need for Speed game ever, but it does deliver where it counts: atmosphere, stakes, and raw street racing energy. Of course, neither game is flawless. Let's be fair about the downsides. Both games in a way have their own issues, but one of the issues many complain about is the EA launcher, which is needed for all EA games, not just Need for Speed. The launcher sometimes won't work, or after a while breaks the game, making it impossible to play. Many people have complained about this in the reviews, have stated their attempts of contacting EA support, however they seem to be terrible. I do not have any personal experience with this, I just read it several times, which is why I decided to include it in this video. Another downside is both games being very expensive at €70. Many have stated, especially for Unbound, that it's just not worth the money. And when on Steam, you might know that you very often have discounts. So if you're looking to get Heat, I just recommend waiting for a discount, because Need for Speed Heat very often has a discount of 90% or even more. So, which one should you play? If you're looking for a racing game that delivers thrills from the moment you press start, if you want a game that throws you into the middle of chaos with cops breathing down your neck, and switch regularly between online and offline racing, then Heat is still the best modern Need for Speed experience. But if you do like the art style, want the latest visuals, deeper tuning, more car content, and you don't mind a slower burn, Unbound might still be worth a shot, especially on sale. As I said earlier, if you are looking to get Need for Speed Heat, I would recommend waiting for a sale, as you can literally get it for just a few bucks. So what about you? Are you still playing Heat, or has Unbound won you over? Let me know in the comments below. Do the same if you have a different opinion or think I've missed something. If you'd like me to look at other Need for Speed games, just let me know. Thanks for watching.